Hello. This is Jody, OT. I was asked by some preschool and some kindergarten teachers to come on and talk a little bit about pencil grasps, how to facilitate a functional pencil grasp. As an OT, developmentally, we get asked this a lot, and school in general has kind of progressed to a more academic mindset, and so kids are learning to write earlier and earlier, and so some of it is we're developing poor pencil grasp because we're not developing their fine motor skills. That's aside, but if we're just going to talk about what a functional grasp is and how to help position their hand, I can certainly do that. So ideally, kindergartners, we want to develop a functional grasp. And so what a functional grasp looks like, it is called a tripod grasp, which means these three fingers are the ones that are holding the pencil. And so your two fingers, these are pinching, and your third finger is underneath and stabilizing it, okay? These two fingers are against your palm. That is a tripod grasp. Ideally, we want a child, when they're writing, to be positioned with their forearm on the table or the writing surface, with their wrist slightly flexed and their fingers, the pencil, pointing away in this space here. That's an ideal position. Of course, we see thousands of other very creative ways that kids hold their pencils. Some of them do this fisted grasp. Some of them hold the pencil upside down this way. Some of them will sprawl their fingers all the way up the pencil this way and write. There are thumb wrap ones like this. There are ones where they're just holding very tight this way. What I often tell teachers that the number one reason why kids are trying to find some other way to get on their pencil is because they're trying to gain stability. When we're holding in a functional tripod grasp, this web space, this space here is open, and when the pencil is in there, it's hard to stabilize it. So a lot of kids will close that and get more stability by wrapping their thumb around it, or they will hold it this way because it's more secure for them to do their writing. Same thing with this, they will stretch their fingers out and sprawl them so that they're getting stability from it in that way. Now, it may seem like they will outgrow that, but I will tell you, with the amount of writing and things that they do coming out of preschool and into kindergarten, motor habits become ingrained and it becomes very difficult to change it. So I'm constantly working at the preschool and beginning kindergarten stages to try and create a more functional and more efficient grasp. So even if they are not able to maintain this, there are some things that we can do to encourage that. So one of the things that I talk about with the kids is go and stop fingers. And so I'll talk about these three fingers being go fingers. And sometimes I'll even put green marker on those three fingers. Those are the fingers that hold your pencil. These two fingers, and you can put red on there, you can use stickers, whatever it is, those are your stop fingers. These are the ones that stay still, they stop, while these ones go and do all of the work. So if you think about that in relationship with a pencil, it doesn't even have your go fingers are the ones that hold the pencil, and your stop fingers are the one that stay here. Some kids don't have what I call separation of the two sides of their hand. So their whole hand wants to be on the pencil. So one thing we can do is to give them something for those stop fingers to do. So you can use a cotton ball, you can use a small piece of Play-Doh, you can use a crumpled up piece of paper, whatever it is that you want to. And their job, those fingers now have a job. They have to keep that still while the other fingers do the work. So all of a sudden, this job, they can figure out what to do because there's a motor task involved. So then, when they go to pick up their pencil, their go fingers are on there and their stop fingers have to stay there. So that's one way to start developing those two sides of the hand. The other thing is, if kids, even if they have that there, if they still don't have the strength within their hand here, one thing that I have recommended is to switch the position to in between these two fingers. So essentially, your go fingers are still on your pencil, right? So those three fingers are holding the pencil, your stop fingers are stabilized, but now you have stability and strength and support from either side of your finger. So when you're writing, you're actually using more of your thumb to kind of push through that, which is typically a stronger finger in the mix. So that's another way that we can adapt it. I would rather see this modified grip than a continuation of this or these other funky ones that the kids get on. So that's another one. It's sometimes called the Danielian grasp. I just call it a modified tripod grasp, because essentially, so same three fingers, you're just putting it in between those fingers to kind of push through there. Oftentimes I will recommend using smaller pencils. These are just like little golf pencils. There's less room for their fingers to get on there in all those funky ways. So that's another thing that you can use. In regards to developing grasp with crayons, I tell all my preschool and kinder teachers to break your crayons into little tiny pieces, because it forces them to use those three fingers to color. There's no room for them to get all those extra funky grasps on there. Let's see, what else? So I'm not a big fan of pencil grips in general. They can help train fingers to do that, but especially in kindergarten, kids are moving between pencils, colored pencils, markers, crayons, all sorts of different writing tools, and unless you're going to have a pencil grip on all of them, they will continue to revert back to their preferred grasp if that grip is not on there. If we are using it for a training purpose, one of my favorites is called a grotto grip. I don't know if you can see how this is positioned, but how it works is it slides onto the pencil, and you can see there, the fingers slide behind that kind of component. So it positions those three fingers, those three go fingers, into a position where they can grasp, and it helps teach the kids where those fingers go. It's harder to get on there in all those funky ways. Many kids still figure it out, but at least it is a training tool for that. Again, that's called a grotto grip, Grotto. Another thing that we often see with hand weakness is the inability to keep this back. Some kids will hold their pencil with those three fingers, but they will hold it and push it up against this way, and their wrist will they'll be writing with the pencil pointing away, because the web space and the strength of their hand is making it more challenging for them to do that. Sometimes I have talked about, like, I've drawn like a little pillow back here, and I say the pencil has to lay down, but in therapy we would work on strengthening their wrist and their shoulder and all of those to kind of develop the hand muscles. So that's just one thing that when I'm looking at kids and how they're holding things, what the musculature of their hand is doing. Another way, I don't know if I have that in here, I can't really show you how to do that, is sometimes I will put like a scrunchie on a kid's hand. Bummed I don't have that, a scrunchie, and then I will slide the pencil through that, and so then the scrunchie is holding the pencil back into that position, and so it kind of, again, is one of those training tools for a kid to feel where it's supposed to be. So those are some of my helpful tidbits. The goal is to get to a functional, efficient tripod grasp. Go and stop fingers, you can use that terminology. You can give them something to put underneath those stop fingers and utilize those go fingers. And definitely continue to work on fine motor strengthening and fine motor manipulation tasks. It's super important to develop those hand muscles with all the writing tasks we are having kids do today. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to your classroom teacher and they can get in touch with me and I can follow up with them. But I hope that was helpful. Thanks.